The Chinese community in Myanmar has long followed the traditions passed down to them from their ancestors in celebrating the Pudu festival with animal offerings and joss paper. This year, for the third year, local TzuChi volunteers are holding their own blessing ceremony in hopes of calling on members of the public to mark the occasion in the right way.
Here at the TzuChi Yangon Liaison Office in Myanmar, TzuChi volunteers lead participants in praying for a world free of disasters. Taking on the traditions passed down to them from their ancestors, the Chinese community here finds it difficult not to mark the Pudu festival using their old ways.
Before, I would kill 7 chickens as an offering and bought more than 10 kilograms of pork, and my mother-in-law burned a lot of joss paper. Now thinking about it, I really regret creating so much bad karma.
Through the volunteer sharing and teaching short skits, members of the public learned that burning joss paper only creates more harm than good.
The performance about refraining from burning joss paper and cutting less trees was great. Reducing carbon emissions is good for our environment.
After listening to the volunteers, I know that burning joss paper creates a lot of smoke and the pollution will damage our ozone layer. It is also unhealthy. So starting this year, I will save the money used to buy joss paper to donate to those in need.
Besides passing on the right belief, TzuChi volunteers also invite participants to take on a meatless diet.
I used to be really superstitious and used a whole pig for offerings. 3 years ago, I adopted a vegetarian diet and changed my habits. This year, I am using vegetarian food as offerings.
Myanmar TzuChi volunteers have for 3 consecutive years organized blessing ceremonies during the 7th lunar month to pray for peace and harmony for all.
In our final series of reports on the Pudu festival, today we take a look at how Buddhists observe the 7th lunar month. In Buddhism, it is believed that the true spirit of Pudu comes from compassion and empathy for all beings, including the poor and suffering, which will bring about a harmonious society. Next, we bring you some inspiring stories from around Taiwan, which shows that with pure heart and selfless giving, we can all make a difference.
Traditionally, Pudu rituals were held for the salvation of lonely wandering ghosts and spirits. Today, members of society are, through acts of charity, donating coffins for struggling families of the deceased or those whose bodies haven't been identified so that the deceased may have a final resting place.
Each year we donate around 100 coffins where and when they are needed. Whether it is locally or internationally, especially during times of disaster, we can arrange for them.
Although society at large remains reserved on funeral and burial rituals, however, folklore stipulates that one who donates coffins to the deceased will gain merit and blessings.
Fortune tellers will advise them on how to dissolve their misfortune and improve their luck.
Although it is often said that it is more blessed to give than to receive, however, a kind thought and a compassionate heart will also bring plentiful blessings. The Jan sisters have been running this vegetarian restaurant for more than 10 years now, and in April they were inspired by a new idea.
A customer from Taoyuan mentioned that suspended meals are being offered in Taipei and Taoyuan, and since that day, we began to provide suspended meals for the poor.
With the whole family willing to follow through with the idea of suspended meals, very soon more and more people began to contribute and pay their love forward.
I met a lot of people who said that they were happy and willing to contribute. I will tell them that their contribution is also a way to give back to society.
And indeed, each day, there will be those who will show up to receive a suspended meal. As the suspended meal quota gradually decreases, the kind-hearted owner will even add on extra quotas.
If they're able to enjoy a decent meal and warm their stomach, it makes us happy too.
Through an ordinary and practical way, the Jan family is able to extend their kindness and compassion to others. Ling Hong Yang, owner of the sushi restaurant, is always generous in giving help. The simple task of serving sushi to a customer required that Xiao Chang first overcome several hurdles.
I serve customers their food, and when they are done, I wash the dishes.
This being a first-time job, Xiao Chang, who suffers from moderate autism, is constantly in an anxious state. Non-verbal expression has become Xiao Chang's default form of communication.
He's a little afraid to interact with strangers, but if you communicate with him, he's willing to learn. He's actually a fast learner.
Knowing that the service industry requires interaction with people, Ling Hongyang still chose to work with the Autism Association, giving autistic youth like Xiao Chang an opportunity to work.
I'm glad. I feel that I can help members of society to be more accepting of people with their condition.
With each step forward being a positive one, Xiao Chang wrote on his cell phone, "Tomorrow will be better." Compassionate deeds are immeasurable in their size or quantity, but it is most often the simplest and purest acts of kindness which are the most powerful of all.
In an effort to motivate senior residents to exercise, doctors and nurses of Hualien TzuChi Hospital in Taiwan held various activities and classes to promote a healthier lifestyle in areas such as Guoqiang and Shouling Township. Now this program has spread to other communities as well and has inspired many local students to join the medical staff in promoting the program to even more people.
It's 6 in the morning and a group of seniors are already at the park doing their exercise. Standing out from the rest is Bao San Mei, who is already 94 years old and still able to keep up.
Exercises serve another important purpose, and that's to motivate the elderly to move about and also gain a sense of purpose as well.
In 2008, Taiwan's Hualien TzuChi Hospital's Community Health Center started working with the Guoqiang neighborhood to promote healthy living for its residents. The courses offered included dietary education taught by nutritionists from TzuChi Hospital and TzuChi University.
Master Zheng Yan says it's important to be a part of a community and interact with the residents. So we conducted a survey and Guoqiang community was a good fit for us. Not only is it close to our facility, but they also have their own activity center.
Lin Su-qing, who leads these seniors in arts and crafts, originally started as a student but now is a volunteer teacher.
When we started, our staff was leading the course, but now local residents have taken over to help their fellow neighbors, and we have moved to behind-the-scenes work.
Here, participants are creating an artwork using tissues and leaves. For Bao San Mei, besides the morning exercises, she also attends these creative arts and craft classes.
I enjoy doing these crafts and exercises. Everyone is very nice to me.
It's tiring, but I don't mind. When I see these seniors having a good time, it makes me happy as well.
These activities bring not only joy into the seniors' lives, but also promote a healthy lifestyle.
These crafts actually stimulate their visual senses and their problem-solving skills. It also helps to reduce degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and helps maintain reaction time.
Actually, a senior exercise program was already being carried out in other areas in years past.
Since 2005, TzuChi Hospital has been assisting Shouling Township's Department of Health in conducting low-impact activities suitable for the elderly at their senior daycare centers.
Hualien TzuChi Hospital's physiotherapist carefully records each senior's leg functions. Trained to maintain flexibility, these seniors are preventing the degradation of their legs.
When you get older, your reaction time naturally slows down, and if something suddenly gets in the way, you are more likely to fall down instead of avoiding the obstacle.
Hualien TzuChi Hospital continues to enter communities to promote the benefits of healthy living by raising seniors' awareness of the importance of group activities and exercise.
In June of 1997, following the opening of the first TzuChi overseas office in Malaysia, volunteers soon began introducing the practice of recycling into communities in and around Penang. Today, there are a total of 344 TzuChi recycling stations throughout Malaysia, at which thousands of volunteers, both young and old, work each day to not only save the earth, but also cultivate their body and mind.
For everyone here, recycling is not a task, but a joy. Recycling lifts my mood and I feel much happier. My health has also improved.
I learned to put the things in the right place.
Why do we need to recycle?
To keep our earth clean.
Employees from one of the world's largest computer chip makers, Intel, also joined the volunteers at the recycling station and come away with important lessons in the process.
It's very enjoyable. I think like it's in a team, right? We really like have fun doing it, and we find like okay, we can see a lot of things there. And at home, right? Sometimes I used to throw all those things away. Now I think that I should recycle those things rather than just go as a waste.
In June of 1997, TzuChi and its recycling mission first came to Malaysia's Penang. From those humble beginnings, in 2012 alone, TzuChi's volunteers collected 5,444 tons of recyclables, which when sold was enough to support 118 dialysis patients with free dialysis treatments for a year. Volunteers are slowly turning Malaysia into a recycling nation. Over the past 16 years, from just one recycling station, there are now 344 recycling points and 3 recycling environmental education centers scattered across Malaysia.
We hope that these recycling points can become training grounds for the members of the community and thus bring more people into TzuChi, such as our care recipients, for example. We have also found that many nearby residents will come here on their own volition to serve, and after their continued participation, many eventually become volunteers themselves.
菩萨们会像人间菩萨，我们都可以多宣导，让地上的大地之上人人都是菩萨，大地之上人人菩萨呢，哪怕环保做不好呢？
As both young and old eagerly embrace the practice of recycling, this path of the Bodhisattvas that started in Taiwan years ago has found a new home here in Malaysia.
In Taiwan, TzuChi volunteers in Zhongli City held a blessing ceremony last weekend and invited community residents to take part. Besides advocating the message of no burning of joss paper, volunteers also encouraged all to take on a meatless diet. Let's take a look.
Come lunchtime at this company in Zhongli City, employees are getting ready to have their meals. One might find it hard to believe that the dishes served are all in fact vegetarian.
Besides taking care of my employees at work, I hope to take care of their health and hope that they will share the idea of vegetarianism with their family. It was quite difficult when I was first promoting meatless diets, and some of my staff were even unwilling to come have lunch.
It was difficult at first for the company director Wu Shoucai to convince his staff to go on a vegetarian diet. Nevertheless, he persisted and finally saw positive results.
If they have had 2 vegetarian meals prior to coming here, then we will dedicate that merit to their parents for them.
This year, 7 of Wu's employees decided to join him at TzuChi's blessing ceremony in Zhongli, where TzuChi volunteers put on short skits to promote vegetarianism.
It is not difficult to get my kids to eat vegetables because most of them were given to me by my in-laws and my mom. They grew the vegetables themselves.
Many participants learned that they don't have to burn joss paper to celebrate the Pudu festival. And many were moved to sign up to commit to a few meatless meals a week.
I think if we can all commit to a few vegetarian meals a week or a month, then there would be hundreds of us going meatless on the same day at the same time. It would be great if we can spread the ideal far and wide.
City volunteers hope members of the public will replace animal offerings with fruit and flowers, and that they mark the occasion with sincerity.
Staying in Taiwan to celebrate the 7th lunar month, TzuChi volunteers across the island have been holding various blessing ceremonies. Next, we join the rehearsal of a blessing ceremony in Taoyuan and learn how the performance has changed the lives of some onstage volunteers for the better. This is TzuChi volunteer Zhuo Qinghui, who is rehearsing a silent song for an upcoming blessing ceremony. Although making countless mistakes throughout the rehearsal, Zhuo is determined to continue on. He says he didn't know much about TzuChi until he witnessed some positive changes in his parents.
When I was young, my mother always hit me when I received bad grades. But after she became a TzuChi volunteer, she would instead encourage me to work harder. I think TzuChi has restored harmony to my family.
For years, Zhuo has been working hard to fulfill his dream of purchasing a high-end sports car. However, Zhuo decided to donate the money to help those in greater need instead.
Mr. Zheng Yan once said that when we have one thing, we always need another 9. And when we have 10 things, we should give one to others. When I heard this phrase, it felt like she was talking to me.
I need to be included when doing good deeds.
Among the onstage volunteers is Yang Qibao, whose wife passed away a month prior to the blessing ceremony.
当然，自己碰到这件事情，心情起伏很大。
Of course, it was hard to believe that my wife has passed away. It was hard for me to calm down. Thankfully, through joining the sign language performance, I was able to control my emotions. I hope I can come to the realization that we are all equal.
Seeing his wife suffering from cancer in the last stages of her life, Yang was inspired to go meatless. Thanks to the sign language performance, Yang Qibao has learned to let go of his sorrow and promises to devote himself wholeheartedly to help the less fortunate in the years to come. We stay in Taiwan at the end of the show. On August 18th, TzuChi volunteers arrived at the Tianmu Baseball Stadium in Taipei City to encourage baseball fans to sort their garbage and not litter. The money collected from selling the recyclables from the baseball stadium were later donated to TzuChi to help those in greater need. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching Dai Headlines. Goodbye.